we go through these commanders and we try to figure out which ones are the best. We try to figure out all the nuances, what they work well with, and commanders' values go up and down all the time. And sometimes commanders won't be as valuable, and then they get a pairing, and then they get back in the meta again. We've seen all that. We're going to go through all this because it's been about 4 months since I've done my investment tier list. And this is the video that's going to get you set up now in March of 2026. It's going to get you set up to know what to invest in, what you can do with these commanders, and we'll also project a little bit when it comes to what we should expect when it comes to the archers. So stick around while we go through it all right now. Hey everybody, I'm your boy War Daddy Chatsky. I do videos for Rise of Kingdoms all the time. Love doing these guides. Love helping players out. You can check it out by my Discord. I ain't hard to find. I'm always down there helping people out in my Discord for questions that they have. And one of the most common questions that we get is about commanders and what to invest in. I have these commanders. Do I invest in this? What should I do? Where should I go? If you enjoy these kind of videos, throw a thumbs up on here. Give it a like. Helps out the almighty algorithm. Throw comments down below. It really helps out the channel, helps out the videos. And if you're not subscribed, consider doing so. You can hit that subscribe button. Doesn't cost you anything. And you can hit the bell for any alerts when I put out content like this. So we got Sun Tzu in the game. Now he's been in for, I don't know, about 4 or 5 weeks maybe. And the guy's just busted. He's crazy good. He has a very eccentric kit when it comes to what he does, how he does it, the true damage he does, how he gets rage off of that. We have gone through it all with Sun Tzu. We've got the best pairings. We know what to run with this guy. And now that we have that, and now that we've tested commanders like Hector, like crazy in the field, now that we've tested all these different commanders and how new combo commanders work with other combo commanders, work with commanders like Attila, how commanders like David can be used in the field, this is your investment guide for your field marches, okay? I'm not going to get into rallying garrisons right now. We're going to talk about field because 90%, 95% of the players out there are just field players, and we want to get you set up on what you need to run. So with that, we're going to make this real simple and easy because some commanders have completely fallen off. They are not usable anymore. I don't advise you to invest them. Some of them still have some value. You can run in the dailies, and some of them are really niche with what they do. You can kind of do different things with them, and they can actually help you out and really can help out the meta. And so with that being said, let's get into it, shall we? I've got my little creator tier list, all right? And let's put that up here. This is the investment tier list that we've got, all right? We got this broken down into categories. We have S plus must max, right? Then we have an S tier that's I consider must max, and I'll explain that later. We have an S minus tier. We have an A tier with pairings, okay? These are commanders that all of a sudden have high value because of the pairing that they provide. Then we have our B tier. Then we have our niche tier, and then we have our just no tier. Like just do not do it. Don't mess with it. Don't even want to jack with it, okay? And I'll explain all of that when we go into this thing. But overall, I think what we want to do is we want to make sure, let me just pull this down just a little bit, make sure we're all good. We want to make sure that we're trying to invest the best we can in this setup, okay? And there are 2 commanders that are at the S plus level, okay? Number 1 is Chen. All right, regardless of how powerful Sun Tzu is, Chen still is the best. You could pair Chen with Markswoman. I got people in my Discord, by the way, again, that link is down in the description. I got people in my Discord putting commanders like Nevsky behind Chen without even an artifact, just for the Nevsky skill damage bonus, okay? Chen is still wrecking. He has such an eccentric kit. He is so powerful, and he is the number 1 still must max commander. Stop what you're doing, invest in him, all right? Right with him, and it's close, but right with him is Sun Tzu. Sun Tzu Prime has come into the game. He's taken the game by storm, and he has given us such an interesting smite situation. He loves being paired with powerful commanders that do AoE. He loves being paired with commanders that do single target, because he does his true damage smite, or I'm sorry, his true damage AoE off of the smite damage you do to the target. So single target damage commanders are actually really good with them, and we'll talk about that a little bit. So these are the two that I tell players, like, you got to go get those two. You got to. Like, stop what you're doing and go get those two. If you're still working on Gang, if you're still working on, even like Achilles maybe, if you're working on Philip, if you're working on Zuge, or you're running dailies for stuff, or you're still working on BQ, or you're working on whatever, these are the two that you go after. You dump heads into them, you spin the wheel for them. If you're fighting quickly, go dump heads into them and go. If you're not fighting quickly, then be sure you got wheel tickets to where you can go get these guys maxed. They are the highest priority commanders in the game, in the field, and they are monsters, absolute monsters, okay? The next tier, but I also consider it the must-max tier, we're going to have Achilles to start out with. Incredible AoE, Palian Spear. When this guy first came out, I said he was going to be broken. Okay, and I kind of got shouted down by a lot of people just saying, oh, Chatsky, you think everybody's going to be broken. No, I don't. But I knew this guy was because I knew how to read his skill. Okay, very interesting skill when it came to the Palian Spear. All right, and let me just come into it and show you guys a little bit when it comes to Achilles. Nobody really knew how this was going to work because he's got this weird third skill, all right, to where, and this is off the expertise, to where when you rack up 2,500 damage factor mitigation, all right, damage factor mitigation, then you fire off his Palian Spear again. It's really, really weird how that thing works. And so he's got normal damage bonuses, rage gain speed. His kit's just incredible. AoE, 5 target, 2,000 damage factor, which is Zuge level. It's nothing crazy, but he fires it off so much more often. And then he's just incredible when it comes to what he does in the field. He's rapid fire. He'll fire off the Palian Spear from the third skill. Okay, he'll fire off this Palian Spear, even walking away. Like, you don't even have to be hitting a target. It's really so interesting and cool. He's very powerful commander. I would put him, honestly, I'd probably put him at the highest level of cavalry commander we have in the game. And so with that, I've got Arthur right with him, okay? Arthur, you guys got to understand, Arthur is going to be meta for a long, long, long time, all right? And so many players are looking at Gang, and they're like, go I do Gang or Arthur? You do Arthur, man. You do Arthur. Because projecting and forecasting for the next Cav commanders that are coming into the game, they're going to give us another combo commander that's AoE. And when they do, okay, he's going to be a phenomenal pair with Arthur. Right now, we're kind of makeshifting Arthur right now. And there's a reason why, is because we have a Gang pairing with Achilles, and we have an Attila pairing with Achilles. All right, but I'll attest to this because I've run it. The best pairing you could run for cavalry, if you could just choose one pairing, is Arthur Achilles. Just fantastic. Does more DPS, does more damage faster. Now, you can get some of these crazy reports with Gang, all right? But the Arthur Achilles is just better, does more damage, and you're going to get great reports, all right? Now, you might have to fight longer, and you don't quite get as much kill points, and you might have a little bit better ratio with Gang, all right? But Arthur and Achilles, just raw power, raw damage, get after it. Like, it's one of the highest DPS marches in the field, and it's incredible, okay? So that's how I would do it. I would run Achilles, then I would run Arthur. Then I would put Luce and BQ. And here's the interesting part about this, all right? I'm dividing this up by Cavs and infantry, okay? Depending on what you want and what you need, all right, you can mix this around between prioritizing your infantry ahead of Cavs, or you can mix it around by prioritizing your infantry behind your Cavs, or you're prioritizing your cavalry. So the one interesting dynamic to this is that you will see that I have Luce ahead of BQ. Okay, I have made this comment before, and I will attest to this still. Luce is going to outlast BQ. He just is. He's going to outlast BQ. Let me pull this down just a little bit. Okay, he's going to outlast BQ, and when he does, all right, Luce is, and let me explain why he's going to outlast BQ. Okay, Luce doesn't quite have the same punch BQ has, but I've got a card in the top. I'll talk about why Luce is still meta and why he's going to be meta. Obviously, he's got a cool march speed reduction, which is great. His 5-target AoE is 2250, all right? BQ's is 2400, so not quite as much damage, all right? But the one thing Luce does, obviously, is through his expertise. This is going to translate, guys. This is going to transition into the next, and it will transcend, translate, transition, transcend into the next round of combo or of smite commanders, because this does not matter who you are, who you pair him with, what you're doing. It is so broken. We didn't realize how broken this was when he came into the game over 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago. This is so broken, so stupid of what he does for rage, what he does for instant procs, what he does for all of that. He will translate into the game because we're going to get more instant proc damage commanders. And when they come out, he's just sitting here waiting, just waiting for them. So this damage factor was super high 2.5 years ago. And it's still really, really high today, like S tier level high. All right. And so from there, this guy, in my opinion, is going to outlast BQ. His kit's just broken, y'all. It's just freaking broken. He does an extra smite damage. He just does all kinds of stuff. It's just crazy. And I love that he runs up more normal damage. And whenever you deal smite damage, the targets take 10% less damage for 3 seconds. He puts debuffs. AoE. He's got a March speed mitigation. He's got hella stats. All right. He's got a skill damage reduction. So he's great. He's a counter to Chin. He's got more attack. He does instant proc. All right. He's got a good buff with the normal damage. He's got a great debuff on the targets. He's got everything. And then he's got this interesting setup here where he gets more damage. He does an extra combo attack. He's the OG combo commander. People don't realize that, but that's what he is. And this thing doesn't have a cooldown. It happens 25% of the time. It fires off all the time, which triggers more effects of more things. Okay? Can trigger once per second. This thing, I've seen it in reports where this thing goes off three times in a row. It's unbelievable. And the rage gain from it's just crazy. And the procs you get from it is just crazy. And so that's why I think our boy Luce will outlast BQ. And so from there, they're both amazing. They're both insane. BQ's a little bit different when it comes to Luce, but BQ is exceptionally powerful. He does the malice stacks. The other thing with Luce's more hit and run. Luce doesn't care if you walk away from the battle and you reset your rage bar, because he can go right back in and start doing massive damage again. The malice stacks when it comes to BQ take a little bit of time to get going. All right. And I talk about this all the time when it comes to Canyon and stuff. When it comes to BQ, his malice stacks, when they roll up and you stay engaged in battle for a long time, and he does his malice stack damage factor, this is a phenomenal pair with Sun Tzu, especially in Canyon, where you just sit there and pummel each other. All right. And it's great with the malice stacks, but you got to let those stacks stack up. It takes time. You got to stay in combat. So it's a little different type of commander. I think BQ is more of a brawler. I think Luce is more of an enhancer and a hit and run guy. But that's how those two commanders work out. They're both exceptionally strong, and they are in the must max S tier level. Okay, so these 6 commanders are our must max commanders. You must max these guys. If you have the luxury of having these 2 already, start working on these guys. They're not going anywhere. And you can have peace of mind. This is another thing people have to understand, because everybody wants to wait on the new commanders. Do I wait on the new commanders? I don't know. Do I wait? Well, the fact that Sun Tzu is so broken, it doesn't diminish the value of these guys, because they're all still like, you got to have them, and they're not going anywhere. The beauty with all of these commanders right here is that they are going to survive at least another cycle and possibly 2 more cycles. Okay? Easily. 2 more cycles of cavalry. We're getting into flirting with 2027 by the time that rolls around. 2 more cycles of infantry. We're getting into like late 2026 or late 2027. Like, it's going to take like 2 years for these guys to phase out. All right. So you can rest your head at night knowing that if you invest in those commanders right now today, you're going to be fine. Okay. Even if they come out with another archer commander that's incredible, all of these commanders aren't going anywhere. They're going to be just as valuable. And so you can invest in them and not bat an eye. Nobody I've ever heard, okay, and I know thousands of players in the game, nobody has ever complained about maxing any one of these commanders. All right. And some of them, Arthur's been out for over a year, 2.5 years over here, getting into about 9 months here. He's brand new. He's at 6 months. Nobody Nobody has any regrets of maxing out these 6 commanders, okay? So now let's go down to the S- tier. These are luxury commanders, in my opinion, okay? I've got Gang, I've got Hector, I've got Philip, I've got Attila, all right? And I've got Zhuge. Now, let's talk about this one at a time, okay? Let me bring Zhuge down here. Let me bring Attila. Let me bring David. And let me bring Hector. Gang is exceptional, okay? He's not going anywhere. He's going to last at least one more calf cycles. He's really, really niche with his healing, all right? He wants a big damage dealer behind him because that ramps up his healing. And he's the only problem with him and why he's not a must-max commander, number one, he's not AoE. He doesn't just punish massive DPS. But number two is that he's a little bit of a one-trick. All right. All of these commanders up here, I've told this to people many, many times. You can put them with anybody. They carry multiple commanders and they work well with multiple commanders. You could put Gang with Achilles behind. That's like the best thing he can do. It's like a one-trick pony. Okay. You got to wait for another combo commander to come out. All right. That you can put Achilles maybe behind Arthur and then another AoE combo commander to put behind Gang. All right. So he's he's phenomenal with Achilles, but outside of that, I mean, he's just really, really good. Okay. And so that's why I have him in the S- tier. He's not a must-max commander. Okay. And there's a reason for that. And I'll get into that in a second. I've got Hector. Guys, like I have run this. I've run it as much as anybody. First of all, Hector serves multiple purposes, right? He can do just about anything. I put him behind Smite commanders. He cooks, man. He cooks behind BQ. He cooks behind Luce. He's got instant proc damage. And he does all kinds of different stuff. All right. Great defense, great health. Okay. He is a single target, 2,800 damage factor combo commander. All right. So I love using him behind Arthur. It's a March killer. Okay. Arthur and this dude, they crush it. Absolutely. And so he has so much viability and value in the field. All right. And he's not a must-max commander at all, guys. But why he's also so valuable is that you can easily put this guy on your city wall and all of his buffs work. Everything works for all troop types. It's incredible what the value this guy brings. All right. He's not going anywhere for a while. You're going to makeshift him and shift him around and do different things with him. And really, we still have yet to see how he might work. Yet to see how he might work with archers, because right now we really don't need him as an archer pairing. But we will see maybe if they give us a skill damage archer garrison, then this guy's going to be in the meta. He's in the meta for the cav garrison with David. He's in the meta for the infantry garrison with Gorgo. Okay, especially when you're running mixed troops. And we'll have to see if we get a skill damage archer garrison, you're going to have this guy too. Now, I'm not talking garrisons, all right? I'm talking in the field. And in the field, he's fantastic. He really is. Good march speed, all right? Helps out the infantry there. He does a lot of cool stuff, all right? And whenever you do smite damage, the damage will increase by 15%. There's a 50% chance. It can trigger up to 3 times per second, which is great for AoE. Like he's really, really good. Really good. And that's why I like him at that S- tier level. People that run Arthur in the field, I've yet to hear people complain about that. He's really, really good. Okay. And so I've got him at that S- tier. I have Philip behind him because Philip's different. Philip's is an enabler. All right. He enhances other marches. We all know about his buffing. Okay. It's exceptional. His buffing and debuffing are great. Just absolutely great. Okay. And when it comes to this, all right, he is one of those buffing, debuffing commanders, but his buffing's off the charts. And if you run Philip and you run Hector, and people know this, Hector does better in the field. He does better for that march. All right, a little more selfish. He doesn't buff like Philip does, but Hector really, really does well in the field, followed by Philip. Philip is not quite as good in the field as Hector, in my opinion. And that's what I said when Hector came out and we reviewed him and went through everything with Hector. And it's held up to be true. You put any pairing, you put Philip behind Luce, you put Philip behind BQ. Okay, you put Philip behind Arthur. All right, you could put Philip behind Chen. If you go do the same thing with Hector, Hector is always going to outperform, especially for the march. Now, the hidden value with Philip is that you're buffing everybody else. So My encouragement to people is if you're lucky enough, this is kind of your S- luxury level, then you just run them both and you'll be fine. Next, we've got Attila. And I know you guys are rolling your eyes. I've done more Attila videos and I'm tired of answering the question for people. But the reason why I've got Attila here, like at the gang level, is because Attila, guys, he's not going anywhere. All right. He's got one of the best buffs in the game for normal damage. He also, the instant you hit a march with less than 50% troops in it, you get an additional 20% buff. Okay. Can't be silenced. Of course, that's more for the rallies and garrisons. All right. He's a part of the garrison meta. He's a part of the Cav rally meta. All right. And when it comes to what he does, as long as we have commanders with combo and smite, because smite commanders with artifact go with Attila, great. As long as we have commanders coming out that are combo and smite, this dude is going to be relevant. He just is. He just is. His kit's broken. It's great. His force skill is still one of the greatest skills in the game. All right, the 10-second cooldown sucks, but this all damage bonus, fantastic. And then he's got, obviously, with normal damage and kicking back the counterattack damage, phenomenal. But with the normal damage bonus and then the expertise normal damage bonus, he's running up normal damage to 50%, y'all. That's like all damage for any combo commander you put behind him. All right, and the reason why I have him at the same level as Gang is because I have told players this many times. I don't have Gang, Chadsky. What do? Do I have to max this guy? And I tell players all the time, if you have Arthur and Achilles, all right, and you've got Philip and you've got some other pairings to maybe go with Arthur, but a lot of these players have older accounts and they have Attila. And I was like, don't max Gang, use your Attila, because all things equal, and I will go to my grave with this and I will die on this hill. You give the gear equal and you give the armaments equal between Attila and Gang, Attila will do just as well as Gang with Achilles. You go give the special inscriptions on your arch stuff like you might have, or your rare inscriptions on your arch stuff like you might have for Delta. I'm just telling you, Attila with Achilles behind him will do just as well as Gang with Achilles. It's fact. I've run it. I've run it more than anybody. I know this. And I've even run it on my second account when I ran it with Delta. I didn't even run it with Arch. And it does fantastic. All right. Attila, Achilles, great. And I've always said, I wish Arthur could be a combo commander as a secondary, because if I could get 2,800 damage factor to 3 targets as a secondary commander and not a primary, I would have put him with Attila over a year ago. And it would have been my best March for over the last year. Easily. And I'm wishing and hoping and praying we could always have a toggle switch right here. Toggle him as a skill damage commander or toggle him as a smite or a combo damage commander, put him with Achilles and go to town, man. Just go to town. Put him with Attila and go to town. Attila Arthur would be insane if Arthur was a combo commander as a secondary. That's why I've got Attila up there. For a lot of players who already have him or gotten him in MGEs or I've gotten him on the dailies, you can just run that. It's going to be every bit as good as Gang, all things equal. Okay, so that's why I have him at that S- level, okay? Now, at the last one of this S- level is going to be our boy Zuge, right? He's still great. He's going to be a great pair, and you got to think of transcending into the next Archer cycle. Zuge is going to be used in a 2-march lineup easily. All right, he's going to be paired a couple of different ways, but more than likely, he's going to be paired with the new Archer Commander. And the new Archer Commander is probably going to be really good. That way, you can still run Chen with YSG. You can still run Chen with other things, like a lot of people run with Shajar. And then you can put Zuge with the next Archer Commander. Still an S-. It's a luxury to have him. I don't know if I'd go dump a bunch of heads into him. You can get him on the wheel. You can get him on the dailies. You can do all that fun stuff. Okay, so that's your S- tier when it comes to your investment list. And yes, I've got Attila up there as a good investment. He's not going anywhere, guys. He's transcended for 5 years, 6 years now, I guess. And he's even got even more of a shot in the arm when you have combo and smite still doing what they do and still getting enhanced. And a lot of people, going back to it, a lot of people will talk about the martial mastery and how part of his talents got nerfed a little bit when it came to doing less combo and smite damage, but it's only 3%. Not a big deal. He's going to power through that. I'm just telling you, okay? The next tier we have here is our A tier. Now, this is the pairings tier, okay? These are commanders that are still really, really good, and they still have good value, okay? But they're best because of a pairing. The first one, William Wallace. William Wallace with Sun Tzu, off the charts good. It's every bit as good as BQ with Sun Tzu in the field. Every bit as good as Luce with Sun Tzu in the field. All right? And it's just really interesting how that works, because much like Chin pulled YSG out of the grave, William Wallace wasn't necessarily in the grave because he was still your best smite March when it came to running Luce with Alex and then BQ with William Wallace. But because we have an interesting facet that has to deal with our boy Sun Tzu, he makes William Wallace really, really good. And the reason why is because off of his active skill, he puts the military sage on. All right, when you deal smite damage, you take a percentage of the actual output of that damage, and he does 30% as fixed true damage to 2 enemy targets. That's very, very powerful. All right, you roll out red numbers everywhere. Well, single target smite, William Wallace does a ton of it, 2,400, and then another 300 for a proc. Okay, and so from there, just raw damage on the target. Now, the difference is when BQ and Luce hit a target, they're hitting multiple targets. So because of this 15% mitigation right here, the actual damage the target takes is much, much less. And so with that, the true damage is much, much less of Sun Tzu. And that's why William Wallace works exceptionally well with Sun Tzu, and it's really, really good. And that is why there's been a little bit of a rebirth when it comes to William Wallace. He's at the A tier level of investment because of the pairing with Sun Tzu. Of course, we've got YSG there. Now, I would not recommend anybody to invest in these commanders. You can get them into dailies, all right? But you can be confident enough to know that they're going to last for a little while because of Chin and because of Sun Tzu. All right, these commanders are going to last a little while. They're at an A tier level because they're being carried, and they have great synergies with these two top commanders. All right, I've also got that with William the Conqueror. All right, because William the Conqueror can be paired with Arthur. Still really, really good. You got Cav simps out there like Amthala that still loves that thing. All right, William the Conqueror still has value. And as a good pairing to Arthur, he is at an A tier level. All right, don't invest in William. Don't spend for him. Don't do heads for him, any of these guys. But you can run the dailies for these guys and get good value. I put Alex at the very back of that, okay? Alex still poses that value with his instant proc with Luce. People still run it. It's fantastic. It still runs really, really well with Luce, and it works out well. You can, if you don't have Alex, guys, I don't know if I would run dailies on him, but if you did run dailies because you have everybody else you need, you could always use Alex with Luce. But with the other commanders that we have, all right, unless you're running 3 smite, there's no reason really to put Alex up there. But if you're using him with Luce, he is still at an A pairing just like William. Okay, that's how that works. All right, now we're gonna go to our B pairings, or our B tier level. You got Herman. Okay, the poison stacks that he does, where he does AoE poison stacks, it is not as potent as it used to be because so many other commanders now are doing smite and combo. Does not affect skill damage. That's what poison does. And he has dropped in the value, in the investment list of how we're going to do this. I also have Huo. Obviously, the Cav skill damage commanders have drastically dropped. Drastically. Okay? And so from there, not great. All right? And they still serve a little bit of a purpose because people still do run some wedge. But I've got them. They got to be at a B tier. Okay, you don't want to invest in these commanders. They can be in the no category, but they still have a little bit of something they can give you in the field. All right, and some would argue that Ragnar and CPO could as well. Okay, and so from those two, I'm going to leave them up here, but I'm more inclined to just say no, and I'll tell you why in just a few. All right, lastly, I've got CJ in the B category. CJ, if you're running 3 smite, he's great to use. A lot of people would like him as a better commander to run with Luce than Alex. All right, so you could easily put him up here, easily. And in fact, that's probably where I'll just leave him, because doing the smite and doing the things that he does, his instant proc is great. Whether you're getting hit or not, he is the ultimate cheeseburger commander. All right, when you come out of your city and you're hit with any type of smite combo or skill damage, he fires off his 3rd skill. All right, he literally fires off his 3rd skill, and it works out really, really well. I don't know why I left him up there for a second, but anyways, it is really, really good how he does it. You could easily put him up as a pairing commander. All right, you could run some dailies on him. He's more suited for a 3 smite setup, and that's how you could run him, okay? Now we're going to get into the niche category. I've got David first and foremost. The reason why, all right, with the niche category. Now, a lot of players who are running garrisons, or a lot of players who were able to get a couple of MGEs for David, you could run this guy 5-5-1-5 in the field, and because of this 4th skill where he puts a 40% combo attack damage debuff on the target for 3 seconds, you can use him, and he's exceptional. He's really, really good, and he does great things in the field if you're running a bunch of other combo marches, all right? He does high damage, big damage. That's high damage. That's just as big as Arthur on a 3-target setup. All right. And he gives you 35% defense. You don't get this 10% skill damage mitigation in the field. 3rd skill doesn't work at all. Expertise doesn't work at all, but you lay down the debuff. So he is a niche commander when you are running 3 combo marches in the field, or you're running 2 combo marches in the field, and you're running Arthur with Achilles, or you're running Arthur with David and Gang with Achilles, or Arthur with David and Attila and Achilles. However you're running that, he provides serviceability, and he's got a little niche role, okay? Next, we're going to bring up our boy Gajamata and Cordoba, okay? It's a niche role, and they're pretty valuable, all right? You can run dailies on these guys, but they're your siege commanders, all right? I've got them both maxed on both of my accounts. I rarely do this, but you can put epic gear and some makeshift epic legendary gear on these guys, and because they're siege commanders, they're going to get you good reports, okay? I choose not to run that stuff. I'm more of a melee guy. I want to get in the fight. I want to get in the mud and the nit and gritty of all of it. I want to do all of it. And so I don't like the siege stuff, but as a niche commander, they are really, really good. Then I've got Shajar, okay? We got to talk about Shajar. As a niche commander, Shajar is providing a couple of things that we've got to talk about. Number one, if you are like me, I'm going to run 3 combo and 3 smite in the field. And I'm going to run 1 archer march that's a skill damage march. And I'm going to put Shajar behind this guy because I absolutely love Shajar as a buffing commander. And I'll explain that, okay? First of all, as a secondary commander, she's going to do big healing, right? And when she fires off, if you're in the field, you're going to take 10% less normal damage. And anytime you use an active skill, you're going to mighty heal 3 nearby allied or friendly troops, including your own troops, for a large portion of slightly wounded units. Well, when she's paired with Chen, she's going to fire off every 4 and 5 seconds. There's only a 3-second cooldown on this. Now, here's the other kicker to this, okay? Her expertise makes it to where whoever is being healed is getting a 20% normal damage buff for 3 seconds. So there's a niche role for her, and I'm going to do it next KVK. I'm going to run 3 smite, 3 combos, okay? There's going to be a ton of commanders that are laying down smite and combo damage in my murder ball when I run 7 marches, okay? If you're just doing 5 marches, you run 2 smite, 2 combo, and this, it's still great because you're basically giving all damage to these smite and combo marches every time it fires off. Well, we all know about Chen, and we all know that Chen's going to fire off every 4 to 5 seconds. He consumes rage. It's crazy. You put Shajar behind him, you're firing off that buff so often, okay? And it's super tanky. I've never seen a Chen Shajar march that didn't trade amazing. It's going to last forever. It's going to last forever, and Chen's going to do damage forever, and it never dies. Some of the craziest altar marches I've ever seen where you're fighting for altars and you are staying alive forever. Just insane, okay? She's got a niche role. She's also got a niche role in Canyon. If you like Canyon like I do, I'm a junkie. She is meta S+++ in Canyon. Absolutely. Okay, so there's all kinds of different ways you can use her. And now with all the smite and combo commanders in the game, she has that niche role. Okay. Along with that, I've got Belly up here in a niche role because Belly is great at swarming, great at putting that 12% all damage debuff on the target. And much like Shajar, I've got Takeda here in a niche role. Now, I don't think you ought to invest in Takeda. I don't think you ought to do dailies for him. I really don't think you ought to do that for Belly. Okay. For Shajar, yeah, you could do dailies for Shajar. It's niche. For these two, you could totally do dailies for. Probably not. Of course, David's not even in the dailies yet. But these are your niche commanders that do things. Now, the reason why Takeda's there is the same reason why Gorgo is there, okay? These are your niche role commanders, all right? And the value of the commanders, the investment of commanders, you keep this really low, but they're niche. And what you have to understand is when it comes to this, all right, it's much like Shajar, but it's in a debuffing role. Let me show you guys here when it comes to Takeda and when it comes to Gorgo, okay? Takeda puts the burn effect on the target, all right? And it only lasts for 1 second, but there's only a 2-second cooldown. And you can get this burn effect to fire off a lot, like every 3 to 4 seconds. And when it fires off, you're putting that effect where the enemy debuff, the enemy's going to take 50% more normal damage. And if you are laying down a ton of smite and combo, it is fantastic. One of my very first videos I ever did, well over a year ago, when we were running multiple smite marches, is that you could run Attila Takeda and you could put this Takeda burn effect. That's why, y'all, when you've got Gorgo in a garrison, okay, and she's laying down smite with Toku or Hector, and the enemy is rallying you, you love to counter rally with Takeda because he puts the burn effect on the rally. And if the garrison hits with big smite, holy geez, it's like a bomb goes off. Okay, so just imagine smite and combo just pounding the target and you get this burn effect. It's just like, it's crazy what the target will take when it comes to damage. All right, now that's in a debuff situation. There's also another debuff situation. Where is our girl at? By the way, she just got a really good buff when it came to her loose formation. Now she mitigates combo and smite. Well, that's for a different video. But for this, her second skill is incredible in the field. It really is. Now, I don't like the cooldown of 8 seconds, but being able to put a 30% normal damage debuff on the target for 3 seconds is really, really good. We talk about the debuff in the niche that David does with the combo debuff, combo damage debuff that he puts on the target. Talked about Takeda. We talked about Shajar buffing. And now we're going to talk about Gorgo in the field. If you're running 3 smite, okay, or if you're running 3 combo and 3 smite, like I am, or you're running 2 combo, 2 smite, and you don't have the commanders to invest in, you don't have the gold heads, you can easily go run Gorgo behind Sun Tzu. Enzo was running that a little bit just to put that debuff on the target, and the debuff is great. For 3 seconds, the target takes 30% more normal damage. So when your smite and your combo are pounding that thing, you can get some gimmick out of this and get a little niche value out of this, okay? But as far as investment tier list goes, you put that in the niche level, okay? It doesn't mean you need to go do the dailies on it, all right? The main thing is to look at those top 3 and 4 levels. That's what we're looking at when it comes to the investment. But those are my niches. And with that, you've got Guan. Who else? You got Guan. Is that it? Ragnar and CPO could easily go in the no category. And here's the reason why, guys. Okay, we got to have an honest conversation. I put Ragnar and CPO up here because technically it could go up here. They're just getting smashed in the field. And will the new skill damage formation magically carry Ragnar and CPO? We got to talk about that. Because the reason why I don't think it will is because we're going to be in a situation to where they're going to give us a new skill damage formation and it's going to work for the archers, okay? And if they make it overpowered, then it's going to make Chen a Thanos-level Infinity Gauntlet commander. Like, they're not going to make Chen that much more powerful. They can't. He's already the most powerful in the game. All right, they're going to come out with a new arch commander. So I think you're going to get a weird gimmicky role when it comes to a new skill damage formation. I think they're going to add either rage to it. I think they're going to add more mitigation, damage mitigation to it, or taking less combo and smite with some of these different special inscriptions on the new formation. We'll have to wait and see, but I don't think it's magically going to pull Ragnar out of the doldrums. And now with the support tree getting a big time buff when it comes to the emergency protection and how you mitigate combo and smite, and when it comes to the loose formation and how you mitigate combo and smite, you always want to run CPO primary now because you want that support tree. That support tree, we've talked about it. It has gotten massive value now, but I'm just going to say no. You don't want to invest in this stuff. And I don't even know if you want to do the dailies on this stuff, guys. I mean, you're not going to use this stuff. You don't want to use. They have signaled to us. Infantry is smite. They are running infantry smite. All of the commanders we have gotten. All right. It's been well over a year since we've gotten a skill damage commander, and this came with the King of All Britain KVK. He wasn't in the cycle of commanders. We have not gotten a true infantry cycle skill damage commander in like over 2 years. Smite, 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 Gorgo, smite here, smite everywhere. Where's Ivar? Smite. Where's Toku? Smite. Everything smite. So they're not going to magically make them. Now, if they made Ragnar and CPO all of a sudden smite damage commanders, like I always attest to this. If they did everything in his kit that he currently does, and they changed two things. Number one, they make this smite, where he does this damage for smite. And then number two, they make this skill damage bonus a smite damage bonus. You can even leave this skill damage reduction. I don't even care. But you can make this smite damage bonus. Then he would be in the 3 March meta of smite commanders. And you might even put him above William Wallace. Like if you just made CPO Prime smite, if you kept his kit the same and made him smite, he would be so much more valuable because Pincer's kind of broken, right? It's so good. Same thing him. Make him smite, he would be so much more valuable. If they made Guan a smite damage commander and kept his kit the same, just change this to where you're going to deal 15% more smite damage for 3 seconds when you receive a shield, I would be using Guan in the field right now today. If this was all smite and you're telling me I can do a 3-target smite silence, I'm in. But they're skill damage commanders and their value is so low now. So with that being said, I'll have a cool graphic for it, but you can take a picture of that. That's your field marches. That's your field investment tier list and how you want to do things. Of course, at the top, our boys here and here. All right. You got nothing to worry about. Invest in them. They're going to be incredible for multiple years. You got our boys here. They're not going anywhere. At least 2 cycles, you're going to be fine with these guys. They're going to last, all right? These commanders here, if you got a luxury and you can invest in them, and you got the gold heads and you want to be better in the field with multiple marches, you can invest in these, okay? Your A pairings, run the dailies on these. You can pair them with some of these commanders, and they do really, really well. All right, your B commanders, I don't necessarily recommend investing in. Okay, some of them I would put down here at no, but they still provide a little bit of value. And if you don't have if you don't have Herman and you have everything else, you can 100% run the dailies for Herman. All right, your niche commanders, dailies for a lot of these commanders, because they do so much different stuff with niche, maybe not Takeda and Gorgo, but definitely your siege commanders, and definitely Shajar, and even Belly for your swarms if you're going to be a player that swarms. So that gives you an idea of the investment tier list. So with that being said, guys, I love doing these types of things. I love the game. You know me. I love everything about it. Love the community. I want your comments down below. I want you to join my Discord. The link's in the description. And if you would be so kind, throw a like on here. Really helps out the channel. We talked about it many, many times. Whew. That being said, you guys have a great day, broskies.